All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Churro, the hardest to pronounce pop culture podcast on the planet. I'm your host, Brian, a.k.a. B. Hearn, and today we are joined by...
It's Jerry, a.k.a. the Twerkin' Flirkin'.
Nice.
Finger Guns Feliciano.
Ryan Saber, Captain Cleveland, OBJ Browns, baby.
I was going to say, I need to hear a little bit more excitement from you because you've had a great couple weeks in the free agency department.
They're going to be a contender.
You don't win games in March.
Yeah, true. Very true, very true. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about the newest film in the MCU universe, Captain Marvel. So we're going to have Jerry kick this episode off for us.
Well, when I went to Captain Marvel, I had some expectations.
Okay.
And those expectations were put forth before, or I read them in the form of like shitty reviews beforehand. And it was just like shitting on, this. There's too much it's too much feminist stuff in this movie,
It's a woman hero.
Well, yeah,
right.
Exactly.
The fuck do you expect?
First off, it's a woman hero.
Right.
Second off, it's not for. I mean, you might love the MCU, but this isn't. I mean, it's for everybody. But first off, nobody's even seen the damn thing yet.
One of the things that I wrote
been
down,
out a week, too?
Jerry, is I think it did get shit on, but I think. It wasn't by real Marvel fans.
Right.
No. I think
Right.
people
People
expected
with
this to be
agendas.
Avengers.
Right.
People with agendas
This
tried to
isn't
trash it
Avengers.
before it
Good
came
call.
out is all that happened.
Yep.
And so as
People
far
with
as
trolls.
agendas. Okay.
I mean, really?
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, my agenda personally was to go in and have a great time at a movie.
I mean, that's a good agenda to have.
Especially if you're paying for it.
Yeah, damn straight.
But no,
$30 later, I better have a good fucking
IMAX in Washington D.C.
How much was that?
$50 fucking dollars.
Wow. You get a
That's
lap dance for
before
that?
the pump. Well, no, because I took Courtney. I love you, baby.
There you go.
Sam Jackson in your lap and shit. But no, I thought it was great. I thought it fit right in there. It was back in the 90s, which was great for me.
Soundtrack was dope.
Because I grew up in the 90s and I knew about every song I heard on the soundtrack. It's something that Marvel hasn't really done before. It's like they have this, established lore, right? And then now they're going to jump back and try to tell, a backstory of what happened before, the characters that we know and love. And so I thought they did a really good job with Brie Larson as Carol Danvers and her whole affiliation with Project Pegasus, and then also her affiliation with the Kree Star Force. It wasn't a full panel for panel, rebrand of the comic origin story,
right.
but it had a lot of the real, stuff in there straight from the comics. I was very happy that Marvel was in the movie. There was a lot of confusion about, whether, Marvel was actually going to be in the movie, whether they were going to just jump right into Carol Danvers being Captain Marvel and not even reference Marvel as being Captain Marvel. But I like what they did with it. They took, reality for what it is, and they kind of got Captain Marvel and they made it fit today's sensibilities. Did it have a lot of positive female, things in it? Yes, it totally did.
I didn't think it was over the top.
Was it?
Not at all.
That was my
Not
next
at
point.
all.
It wasn't an in your face.
Yeah, was it as
Exactly.
over the top as the bullshit trolls, reviews before the movie came out? Was it? No, it was not. It was not heavy-handed. It was, I mean, come on, just think back a couple years ago, Wonder Woman came out, and I think that was a great adaptation of her origin, and it was not, so overpowering. Like I didn't feel threatened as a white man,
You are a white man on the street.
I'm definitely that. But I wasn't threatened then, and I'm certainly not threatened now. This is just a positive story that just happens to have a female lead character, and I think it's great.
I think it's
great.
Strong female leads.
Yeah,
even her best friend.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. I've got a couple gripes with the movie, but it's nothing against Brie Larson. It's nothing against feminism or anything. It's it's stuff I would have a problem with in any movie.
Yeah,
Right.
I gotta be honest. This is
Right.
the first I've heard any of that. Like, I didn't think that was a thing.
It was
with this movie.
infuriating.
It was on Facebook and shit. So
Was it
it
really?
was just
I
kind
read
of one
a
of
lot.
those. I was like, ugh, give me a break,
Yeah,
guys.
it's stupid.
Yeah.
I personally felt
Yeah.
mandarined because the Skrulls were like happy and
well,
funny.
yeah.
And
Yeah, that's
shit. Like,
interesting that
I-
you bring that up.
You know
that
what I
that
mean?
was my take.
They
too.
were billed as a villain, but then
Yeah.
if you know anything about the comics, you know that the Kree aren't. They're no saints either. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and I think that's what they were billing it as. Is like they pumped her head full of like, you know, the Kree are the good guys and the Skrulls are the bad guys, and that's what the audience came into when we walked in there thinking. You know,
Well, that's what I
she's part
wanted to
Kree.
see.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's not that's not necessarily the truth all the times. And I actually thought that, you know, the Skrulls finally got some justice for once because, you know, all through their history in the comics, they were, you know, these, you know, subhuman villain characters. But no, I love the movie. I thought that it was a great adventure. I thought it was very
Great comeback.
fun.
Perfect.
I thought it was.
Seamless.
I thought it
Didn't miss a beat.
until now. I really liked seeing Fury's backstory in this, and in fact, everybody's backstory that had one. I mean, I liked seeing a little bit of the Kree Star Force, or the little bit that we got to see. That's actually one of my gripes. But and I really liked the inclusion of Mar-Vell, and I love that the Skrulls actually got some justice. So as far as gripes about the movie, I did have a couple. I didn't like Mr. Wacky Aloof Nick Fury with the cat. something about that was a little off.
It's his
Yeah.
weakness, man.
Because
He's flirking, Jerry.
He's supposed to be
It's
a
a flirkin'. It's a-
Come on
it's a
now, he's
flirkin'.
supposed to be this badass, and he's just
He is now.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Hey buddy, it was just. It was
Wait,
just
what was that?
How'd that go again?
you heard it when Sam Jackson said it. It was just that was a little over top. I mean, I get it. You know, he trusted him or whatever. So, anyway, and that was a gripe. And then,
I like how the Skrulls were terrified of it. Like immediately.
Oh, yeah.
oh
Oh,
my
yeah. Do you know what you're holding?
Yeah. Get that thing away from me.
It's a cat.
No, it's not. I loved. Oh wow, Ben Mendelsohn is
So great.
so awesome. Ben Mendelsohn, if you don't know, he played Orson Krennic, the bad guy in Rogue One.
in Ready Player One
He was
too,
yes,
right?
he was
He
Sorrento.
played
Sorrento in
yeah.
Ready Player One. He plays the great villain, without question.
Agreed.
However, this was a little more ambiguous. I mean, like you think the Skrulls are the villains for a while, and then you find out later that wow, they're really the ones getting fucked over here. And like Ben Mendelsohn, the actor, looked like he had a ball making this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, anytime that he got to talk in his own like Australian accent, he sounded great. He sounded like he was having a blast.
You're supposed to be my science guy.
Right. Like that, yeah, and like the fear of the Flurkin, like
Yeah.
that was so funny.
I was telling you, I think we talked about this on the Entertainment Weekly article. You know, they interviewed Brie Larson and Samuel L. Jackson. They said the guy just oozes cool. He's just, you know, just cool as a fucking cucumber.
And you wouldn't necessarily
me.
get that.
Yeah.
By looking at him because he looks like an alien.
Well, yeah, he looks like a
I said,
you know, like
me.
a 2x4. I mean,
I
Slid
you
it in
said
there.
that.
I thought
should've
I wasn't
just
gonna have to
pretended.
repeat.
I like that you repeated it though. That's
Yeah.
good.
like I immediately think of his character in Ready Player One, where he was like, "Hey, you know, I'm cool. You know, I like all this stuff," and he's just like, "No,
Drinking
you're not."
tab. He's like,
Right? Yeah, I drink tab, and you know. But he's really great, and he did an amazing job in this movie. Another gripe would be not enough Ronan and not enough Kree Star Force.
Yeah, there was
No
almost no
shit.
Ronan.
None.
And it wasn't the same Ronan.
No, it wasn't. I mean, you could tell it was super young Ronan, but like he didn't have the tenacity that the Ronan had in Guardians 1. I know it's a prequel, but you
It was
didn't really
a
get a
useless
lot of him.
thing to me, to be honest with you.
Well-
Why even put him in there?
Well, my gripe was not enough Kree Star Force, not enough Korath the Pursuer either, Because he was in it too, but I hear that they cut a lot of that stuff out to for time or whatever.
Gotcha.
They cut out some Star Force scenes, and also another gripe was not enough Rambos. I thought
So it is Rambo's. That's how you say it?
yeah, Rambo.
Okay.
Maria and Monica. Maria is the mother. Monica is the child who will later become a Captain Marvel in her own right in the comics.
I read that.
And but also becomes
Silver
she uses Photon as her
Yes.
is her name. She was part of the Ultimates. She was like I said, a Captain Marvel in her own right. And I did not get enough Rambos in this movie. They were amazing. She's adorable, and I can't wait to see her all grown up in Endgame. Hopefully,
Yeah.
You think so?
I think so.
Yeah.
At least to see what's going on with her people.
Yeah, she's like 40.
Right.
Yeah.
Because this is 1995.
Yep. 95.
I had to put that together in the movie. Like, okay, that calendar says June. They shot down a True Lies poster, and that was 1994. And then I was
Yeah.
doing math in my head. Let me see that.
My notes.
Yeah, let me see that. You just said something. The feminism. Let me see. Fuck out of here.
Actually, one of my gripes was not enough feminism. I mean, like I said, for all that hype, I was waiting to get like bashed over the head with it, and I wasn't.
Jerry's a strong white woman.
I think I think it was rushed. I felt like it was a little bit rushed. Like
I
it
do
was
too.
just like a just a connector.
I hate to say
just
filler.
to introduce, like a
Yeah.
filler, just to introduce Captain Marvel, so people know somewhat.
They
about
wanted her so bad they didn't
And-
put enough thought into introducing her.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. I appreciate all the '90s stuff about it. Like I should have said, I felt like it was Mandarin type thing with the scrolls.
Right.
I wanted them to be bad.
You don't like to be faked out.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take note, Marvel.
Better
MCU.
switch that shit up next time. Really, that was it. Like I took issue with one scene when like they were on a ship and she blew a hole in it and somebody went out. She went
One
the other
person.
way.
Right.
She went the other way.
Yeah.
But that was it. She just got up and walked away. I'm like, if you put a hole in the ship, everybody's getting the fuck out the
She's
hole.
powerful.
We saw Ebony Maw get sucked out of a ship like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, it was good. It was all right. I don't see. It's funny because there was this kid in the front row that was talking so much shit at the end with the cat and the Sam Jackson's seat, and he started coughing up and he was like, "It's not the Tesseract. It's not going to be the Tesseract." And I'm like,
What the hell else is it?
Why
moron?
wouldn't it be the Tesseract? Like- but that's like what you were saying. Like, there's no. I thought it was pretty clear as to like a continuity as far as
Oh, you mean the Tesseract?
Tesseract.
Yeah, yeah. We'll definitely get into that because there was some definite confusion about how did she end up with this? and What the
Right.
hell?
Yeah,
And
we'll get to that here in a little bit.
Yeah.
Sable, what you got over there, buddy?
So I enjoyed it. As I talked about before, I went on one of our last podcasts. Me and Courtney went to Washington D.C. for her birthday, and we watched it on the IMAX, and that was a really outstanding experience. It was a true IMAX. The weird thing so we went to the Smithsonian Air and Space Center on Friday when we first got there, and they were playing it at the Smithsonian.
Oh, shit.
But I had already bought tickets because we went to see it in Georgetown. I already bought tickets, but that's a real that's like a huge IMAX.
Yeah.
But so we enjoyed it. I think the one thing I'll say is, as a whole, this movie kind of had an impossible task.
Right.
It kind of had to do two things, right? It had to tie up a lot of loose ends. I think one thing, though, it did that, right? I think when we left this movie and we went back to the hotel, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 was actually on FX. And I think this movie helps you to understand some of the kind of backstory dynamic in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 more, or vice versa. I think they tie each other together. I think this ties up a lot of loose ends. So from an impossible task standpoint, it had to tie up a lot of loose ends, but it also had to deliver in the face of this brutal anticipation for Endgame.
Of course, yeah.
So I think that it was just a situation where I knew if you would have talked to me 3 weeks ago, I knew that this movie was going to get shit on from most people.
Right.
I just knew it was
Right.
going to because
It's an uphill battle.
it's not the Avengers.
Right.
And that's what everybody wants.
Yeah.
And that's the challenge.
It's like the opening act before the headliner. You know, you better be fucking good because people really don't want to
That's right.
see you. They want to see the main event.
You're there
Is
to hype the
Spider-Man
crowd.
after
Yes.
Endgame?
Yes.
It's after Endgame?
Yes. You know, in my mind, it exceeded my expectations. I think it's no, you know, we all know and we talk about it a lot on the podcast. I'm not a comic book guy. I have no frame of reference, historical perspective to Captain Marvel, who she is, Kree and Skrulls. Like, I mean, obviously I know a little bit because I've done research,
Sure.
but I haven't been reading Captain Marvel comics since I was a kid. So going into it, I didn't really have a lot of expectations, and it exceeded what I did have, and I thought the movie delivered. I thought the story was really, really good. I enjoyed the Kree and Skrull dynamic. I liked that I went into it thinking that the green guys were the bad guys and the blue guys were the good guys.
Right.
You know, not to dumb it down or anything,
Sure.
but I enjoyed that there was that dynamic and that switch. You know, the dialogue was witty throughout the movie, but the action was also exciting, and it wasn't like fucking over the top.
Right.
You know, like it was really, really good.
I actually thought there could have been a little bit more.
More action, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the wit was a little like campy at
Right.
times.
I enjoyed it.
Right.
And they peppered in serious stuff, family and kind of loss and, you know, not remembering who you are and things like that. I mean, I just thought it was a nice mix, a nice potpourri, if you will.
The directors went for
like
a specific like 90s like blockbuster kind of movie feel, like
It had
Terminator
that.
2 kind of, you know.
It
feel to
had
it.
that.
That's what they said they went for anyway.
I missed.
I thought Sam Jackson was outstanding.
As always. Yes.
The one thing I'll say is this, and I spent a lot of time thinking about this over the last couple of days. Is there anybody else that could be Nick Fury?
David Hasselhoff.
Morris Chestnut,
David
maybe?
Hasselhoff.
He was.
Did you say Morris Chestnut?
Tay Diggs.
Diggs.
You know what I
Negative.
mean? Like I don't think there's like I think there's other people
Wesley
that
Snipes.
could be.
I'll say it for him.
Wesley Snipes. I think there's other people that could be Iron Man. I think there's other people that could be Captain America. You know, like I don't know if anybody else could be Nick Fury.
I don't think anybody else can be Iron Man at this point.
Right.
Well, they're gonna be.
Yeah. Disney ain't paying no more 50 mil a fucking movie.
So I love Sam Jackson, and I absolutely love Brie Larson. I thought she was great. You know, not like I love Scarlett Johansson. That's a different kind of sexual love.
That's a
Lust.
under the sheets,
Yeah,
late
like,
at night kind
yeah,
of
like
love.
I don't. Brie Larson
One-on-one
does not
experience.
have a national treasure ass like Scarlett Johansson does.
She
but
has no ass.
yeah, no, she doesn't. I was
No ass.
and
Leave Brie alone.
that's a different. That's a different podcast.
That's the After Dark edition.
But I thought she was great. I certainly had my doubts. I mean, I think I don't feel like I've seen a lot of Brie Larson movies, but I feel like historically she's played some very serious roles. She won an Academy Award for
Room.
You know what I mean? Where it was took place in one room with a kid. Like it was a very serious movie. I haven't seen it, but so I was pleasantly surprised at her. I think she did an outstanding job, and I really like her now as an actress. Like I will go see her movies.
She's a good actress.
Yeah. She directs some too.
Envy Adams, man.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that we were gonna do that I think we skipped over a little bit is where it ranks.
I thought we were going to do that after grades.
We can do that.
Yeah.
That's the end for me.
As it's the end for
Conveniently.
Saba, it's the beginning for a commercial break. So we're going to take a quick little time out for a sponsor spot. We'd like to take the time to thank one of our sponsors, Andrew Newman, attorney at law. Located here in Greensboro, North Carolina, he can assist you with your criminal as well as traffic violations, and his practice includes Guilford, Forsyth, as well as all surrounding counties. To set up a free consultation, you can contact him at 336-663-2388, and you can also visit him on his website, attorneynewman.com. And we're back. All right, and we are back from the break.
Yeah.
So we're sitting here talking about Captain Marvel. It is now my turn. So first and foremost, to me, the MCU is like Motown. back in the 60s. They were just
on
cranking
hits,
out
on
hits.
hits, on hits.
Cranking out the
I
hits.
mean, they are just a hit factory.
Make Daddy
That's
hit.
a really good analogy.
I mean, and they're right now they're doing no wrong. They can take properties like Guardians of the Galaxy, like Doctor Strange, which aren't the most well liked or well received,
Like the Eternals, they're about to use
right?
too.
And
Like
just
who the
make
fuck
them
knows
into
about the
global,
Eternals?
powerhouses. And they're doing the same thing here with Captain Marvel. And on top of that, they're not bringing in gigantic names for directors either. They brought in
They're indie
the
people.
team of Anna Boden and Ryan Flick, and their most notable work has been primarily directing a couple episodes of the show Billions. So, and then they did one
great
movie.
show.
Oh, it's a fantastic show.
Coming back.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
season 4. I still need to
Tomorrow, I
catch
think.
up and watch season 3.
Yeah, you do. 'Cause
And-
no spoiler alert. The way season 3 ends is
I know, I
like
need to
it's
watch
what
this
it's
shit.
what we've been waiting for.
But yeah, they're known for writing the 2006 film Half Nelson with Ryan Gosling, which got a lot of acclaim. It's like 90
I don't
as
think
far as
I've
Rotten
seen it,
Tomatoes.
though.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard good things.
But yeah.
So to bring kind of directors like this to come in and helm these pretty much blockbuster franchises, each one can crank out more movies, and they're going to. We're going to have another Doctor Strange, another Guardians,
Another Guardians 3.
James Gunn, thank God, welcome back. So
Another Black Panther.
back to another Black Panther.
Wakanda forever.
Wakanda forever. My overall take on the movie, it is a good flick. I thought Brie Larson did a great job. Samuel L. kills it as always.
Jude Law, man.
Jude Law.
I was underwhelmed with his performance.
I
love
didn't mind
Jude
it.
Law. I was
didn't
very
mind
No, I
it.
love Jude
underwhelmed.
Law.
To me,
yeah, but
I think
he played the role that he was supposed to play.
yeah.
Maybe I just don't like him as a bad person.
Maybe it's
Well,
those scenes they cut that we needed to have.
I love
And that's
for
the
more
thing too.
development.
So my main gripe is, to me, this movie, it seemed rush.
Yeah.
I don't think characters got enough screen time, especially as we talked about Ronan. I mean, he had such little screen time. I don't even know why they even put him in the movie.
It was like the Darth Maul shit.
Right. So at least Darth Maul got to kick some ass. I mean, Ronan dropped some bombs, and then Captain Marvel was like, "Fuck you and your bombs." So that was it as far as my gripes go. I thought it was too rushed. Besides that, Brie Larson's role of Carol Danvers I thought was spot on. I don't think she was trying to be too much of a badass. I think she was just the wit was right there, was right on. Her relationship with Rambos, is that how you say it?
Yes, Rambo's.
Rambos and her daughter, I thought
Maria and
was fantastic.
Monica.
Yeah.
And it was definitely not a like a
besties.
women's activist movement in front of me, like everybody made it out to be. I thought it was just a great movie. So as far as my grade for it, I give it 4 out of 5. It was, like I said, the enjoyability factor is definitely there. It's well shot, well edited. I love the '90s aspect of it. I know we talked about that a little bit. From her crashing into Blockbuster, the music, the 9 Inch Nails shirts. I thought it was great.
Payphones.
Yeah, payphones. It was good to see payphones again. Payphones
And the
making a
giant
comeback.
computers. Like,
The scene in the internet cafe, I thought was pretty funny.
Yes.
Her trying to figure out how to type.
It's taken forever
Yeah.
to log in.
Yeah.
Or
Don't miss logging on to AOL. I'll tell you that right now.
I don't even remember internet cafes at that
I
time.
remember that shit.
Yeah, there was few
wasting-
and far between. They were really more in big cities.
You're definitely
know.
wasting lots of time there.
Yeah,
Waiting.
Jerry, what's your grade on it?
You know what? I didn't think it was the greatest movie ever, but I did not think it was horrible. I would give it out of 5, maybe 3.75.
Okay.
I don't know. Just under 4. I mean, like, it gave us what you need. It made it pushes the story along. I didn't think it was great, but it was definitely fun.
Okay. Yeah, I'd say 3.5. 3.5 out of 5. We've given better movies 4s.
Yeah,
It's
it's like you said, it's too rushed.
Yeah,
it's too rushed.
it was.
Yeah, I mean, this could have been
was-
3
I
hours, and
enjoyed
I
it.
would not have minded.
Yeah,
You
it was
know, I
good,
really- yeah.
but it wasn't.
Like no Coulson either. Like you saw him, he said
A little
maybe
bit.
5 things.
Yeah.
Just at the very beginning too, right?
Oh, one of the things, the de-aging thing
Mm-hmm.
with Fury. Like I've heard this, and I completely agree. Is like, for the first 5-10 minutes, yeah, you know that they've de-aged him,
Yes.
but then you just completely forget about
Yeah.
it.
You don't even think about
Yeah,
it.
agree.
Like it doesn't come up again because he's doing such a good job, and just the technology is there
The
now.
Coulson
man.
de-aging didn't look as good. I didn't.
no, his hair.
You know,
Still
black.
a young
I mean, it was
looking
really
guy,
just
though.
a
Black don't
hairline.
crack. You know.
I feel like he has to say that every other podcast. I like it though.
He ain't lying.
Sable, what do you got? What's your grade on
So I gave a letter.
I was going to say B. B
Yeah.
minus.
See, I mean, because I went back through and I looked at what grades I've given to other movies that we've reviewed, and I've been a little too nice to some movies.
Too generous.
I give this a B. I thought it was good. You know, we went through it. I thought it was good. I kind of touched on one of the things that I wrote down in my notes is that the people that shit on it, I just don't think they're real Marvel fans, and I think they were expecting to see something else. I will probably go see it again at the theater. I will.
Oh, yeah. I will.
I just I liked it, so I give it a B.
So as far as like where it ranks in the MCU, where is it for you?
So for me, and I want to reference back, we did, if you guys go back and listen about the time that we did a review on Infinity War, we did go through our top 5 of our MCU. And what I'll say is this. Since we've done that, I rewatched Captain America Winter Soldier. And that bumped Ant-Man out of my top 5.
Gotcha.
So that's important for me to say. So I would put this in the bottom half of my top 10. I would put it at 7. So I put it at number 7 in my MCU, with Ant-Man being 6 and Thor Ragnarok being number 8.
Well, you put it over Ragnarok.
I do put it over Ragnarok.
Interesting.
Matthew?
I don't think it's top 10. I don't think it's top 10 at all. That's just where I'm at with it. I mean, I can think of easily 9 other Marvel movies.
Sure.
Yeah, I gave it a B minus.
So do you think it's like
3.5, whatever?
in the top half of the bottom 10, or do you think it's in
Okay,
the
so
bottom half?
Can we universally agree on what the worst Marvel movie is?
It's Thor.
Second Thor?
Yeah, the second Thor.
Okay, everybody hates
Closely followed by the first Thor, in my opinion.
And Captain, the first Captain.
And then you guys
America.
hate Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3 is fucking
The
atrocious.
Mandarin thing? Okay, yeah.
I mean, so those are like the worst.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how close is it
it's not
to
that bad.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
No.
So it's somewhere in the low teens,
Yeah.
low to mid teens.
Okay.
Low to mid-teens.
Okay.
Low to mid-teens.
I like that. Jerry, where are we at?
I mean, I'm kind of with Mateo here. I mean, like, I don't think it's in my top 10, but it's on the cusp for sure. I mean, it's 12, 11 for sure.
Yeah, I'd say 12, 13.
It gave me some Guardians feels. It gave me some, Iron Man feels. It gave me some Captain America first movie feels. But it's just, I don't know. It felt rushed. It felt any time that Carol Danvers wasn't talking, I felt like she was just kind of standing there like a block of wood. And that sucks to say, but they should have edited.
Veers.
They should have edited it better. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
The story felt rushed, and I don't know. I didn't think it compares to 10 MCU movies.
Fuck you, Jerry.
Sorry.
Besides,
It was fun.
but
It was
yeah,
fun,
It
though.
was a fun flick. It is a fun flick. Honestly, I do want to see this again because I think going into it, a lot of us, yes, we're so ready
Super
for
critical.
Endgame, and we're going to be a little bit more hypercritical because, just like Saba said, this is kind of like the warm-up before the headliner comes on. So I want to watch it again to really, really give it a fair assessment. And not that we trashed it by any means. To me, I think, obviously, if I watch it again, I'm still going to think it's rushed because this one, it's rare when I'm like, that movie could have been longer. Normally, I'm like, fuck, that movie sucked, or it could have been a lot shorter. This one, they could have, made it 2.5 hours instead of 2 hours, and I think it would have done perfect. But I can see what they were doing.
It would have improved the experience way.
Right. And I can see what they were doing. They're like, we just need to crank something out real quick. Still make it watchable, and decent, but Endgame is the final product as far as,
I
the
think
goal.
I would have liked it better if it was released earlier in the universe.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Even like
I would
February,
agree with that.
I would have taken. 'cause
No,
when
you
Black
just mean
Panther-
like 5 years ago.
Yeah. Like
Oh,
earlier
gotcha.
within the MCU.
Gotcha.
Like as far as the Iron Man 3 and Civil
Right.
War and all that shit. Like,
Well, they were still, building it to the powerhouse that it is now, to where they can just
right,
go
but
with
this movie
everything.
had nothing to do with that, though.
Well, to be
Oh,
Until
right.
the very end.
Right.
Right? So it was like a
Right.
one-off. It was like Thor 1.
Right. Right.
You know?
And I mean, we'll see too, because I think, and we'll get into this in a little bit, Endgame is going to have some time travel elements to where we might have a whole Days of Future Past thing to where after Endgame, anything's up for
completely
grabs.
different.
And the other thing I'll say is this: that mid the mid
Mid-credit
credits
scene?
scene.
That's lifted straight from Endgame.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Here's the we are prisoners of what we know that just happened.
Right.
That is like obviously the flirkin coughing up the Tesseract comes after that, but that is like the last thing, the last emotion that you get when you're watching this movie. So potentially for me, giving it a higher ranking, it could be because I was so excited because I saw a scene from Endgame.
Right.
And they did that with at the end
Ant-Man. At the end
with
of Ant-Man.
for
was
Civil
that
War.
was Civil War scene.
Yeah, they lifted that scene where it's them and that.
Oh, yeah, and,
So it was
and the Falcon.
Right.
that
And
could,
like I said,
I could be a victim of that.
Yeah, and like I said, I think giving it a second watch will give a more accurate, or I guess true rating. Right now, it falls in either number 10 or like very low teens for me. I kind of have it in between Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp. Like good flick, fun flick. It's lingering there around number 10. You know what I mean? Like I said, maybe after I see it again, it might bump up, it might slide down, but right now I have it at number 10 on my top 10.
I would put Ant-Man and Wasp like at least 2 or 3 movies above this one.
Don't shit on it.
I'm not shitting
You
on
know
it.
I love me some
I love Ant-Man and Wasp, but like I said, I was doing my top 10 today, and I had to redo the thing like 10 fucking times.
I
Yeah.
did.
So, the top 10 alone, it's hard to just make that list.
Right.
And I mean, I feel like a couple years ago, it was like, this is our solid 5. And now there's always something coming out. Like I said, it's Motown, man. They're just cranking out
Yeah.
hits. And it's making the top 5s and top 10 lists that much harder. So we're going to take a quick little commercial timeout.
There's a proverb that says, where beer is brewed, all is well. And where beer is drunk, life is good. Four Saints Brewing Company meets both those standards. Enjoy great beer for great people in a comfortable and relaxing family-friendly environment. Life is good at Four Saints with weekly events, including trivia, a run club, and live music with no cover. There's more info at foursaintsbrewing.com. Then visit Four Saints Brewing Company right here in downtown Asheboro. We look forward to pouring you a pint of great beer for great people soon.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. So there has been a lot of confusion, questions as to what exactly is going to be, or what is going on with the Tesseract after the very final scene in the movie, which, by the way, spoilers, we should probably start saying that before the show starts.
Yeah.
We used to.
Who cares anymore,
I mean,
man?
I put it on the description,
We're
spoilers
professional
ahead.
Spoilers.
So, but Jerry's going to kind of take us down the timeline and put this all together, so hopefully this will all make sense to everybody, because that has been the main thing is, the movie, and then, well, what about the Tesseract? What the fuck's going on with the Tesseract? So,
Yeah, well, I was one of those people when I
Yeah.
when I
Oh, me
walked out
too.
of the theater. I was like, well, what the hell? How the hell does she get the thing? And like, what the hell? So,
Stupid idiot.
well, first I'm going to back up one more.
School them, Jerry.
Well, what? This doesn't have anything to do with the Tesseract. I'm just going to say one more connective part between Captain Marvel and Guardians 1 is that, I don't know if you noticed this, but they use the same kind of font for their locations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did notice
It was
that.
the
Yes.
exact same font that they used for Guardians 1.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah,
yes.
I have a question real quick.
Sure. You there.
I forget his name, man.
Down front.
Give us free. Amistad, that guy.
Yeah.
He was in it, but
Yes.
like he was in what?
He was in Guardians.
Yeah, it was.
right?
The same
But he
character.
was a different dude.
No, he's
No,
the same guy.
it's Korath Pursuer.
Yeah. So that's the thing,
But was
too.
he-
They didn't really
They didn't go into
do
that
shit
at
with him
all.
either.
In Guardians 1, when
was- he
Peter
was a
Quill
Ronan
is,
guy.
is,
Yeah, he was in
is-
the
is
beginning.
getting the sphere.
I didn't know he was a Kree.
But that's the
Exactly,
Kree,
that's what
the
I'm
Kree
saying.
Star Force or whatever,
Right,
right?
yeah.
That's
Right.
coming there. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just thought he was his homie, like
Right, right. And he's a henchman.
his robot buddy.
Right. That's what I
or
thought. He was a
cyborg
henchman.
guy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But no, he's a superhero with blades and shit.
Yeah.
Blade?
He
Shout out to Jordan.
katanas,
Couldn't make
yeah.
it today.
Settle down. All right. So the confusion over the Tesseract. All right. So I'm gonna go over the chain of custody of the Tesseract in the MCU. Okay. So at the beginning, there was the Big Bang,
In the beginning.
and 6 singularities formed, and they were scattered across the universe. And one of those singularities or ingots was the space stone. And eventually, someone put that space stone in a box, and they called it a Tesseract. And so,
In a box.
What's in the
what's
box?
in the box?
Tesseract
gem.
in a box.
and so eventually Odin becomes the owner of the Tesseract, and he uses it in his conquest of different worlds, or the 9 realms, with Hela back in the day. And he locks Hela away, and then he decides he's like, you know what, this Tesseract thing, it needs to be away from me. It's too powerful, but it needs to be secured, but it needs to be secured the fuck away from me. So I think that's he got. Sounds the
like
idea.
Half my exes.
Yeah. So he decided to bifrost down to Earth and put it in down in Norway with some people that he can trust, that think that they're gods. So so at the beginning of Captain America: The First Avenger, you see the Red Skull mounting his invasion of Norway, and he's looking for the Tesseract. And so that's where he finds the Tesseract, is in Norway with the guy that played he was Walter Frey in
from Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
Oh.
And he was also in Harry Potter. But
he was like the janitor in Harry Potter.
Yes,
that's right. I always forget he's in that shit.
Yeah, so he was the guy that was in charge of
with the cat.
Yeah.
Yes. He was hiding the Tesseract, and so the Red Skull went to Norway and got it, and that's where he got it. And then he took it back to Germany. He started making all of his weapons with it, and then we all know the story about how he took it onto the airplane, and Captain America was on the airplane, and they fought, and the Tesseract shot the Red Skull to Vormir.
Yep.
To become the custodian of the Soul Stone.
I like how you put that.
You like that?
Custodian of the Soul Stone.
And then it kind of melted through the floor of the plane and went down into the ocean just before Captain America crashed. So it was in the ocean for years until they were looking around for Captain America, and Howard Stark found the Tesseract first. And so when Howard Stark found the Tesseract, he brought it to because Howard Stark was really busy. He was rich. He was a pilot.
Elon Musk of his time.
He was helping set up S.H.I.E.L.D. And then within S.H.I.E.L.D., he helped set up Project Pegasus, which Project Pegasus was basically using the Tesseract for for the good of humankind, basically.
Right.
And so what they did was Howard Stark had the Tesseract. He had custody of the Tesseract. And then someone named Wendy Lawson, a.k.a. Marvel. Showed up and,
Wendy.
first off, shut up.
Larson.
Shut up, you.
Hey, you played that off well.
So my first thing is Howard Stark's a horrible boss, apparently. He's only
Didn't sound like a great dad.
Wasn't the best dad either.
Wasn't the best dad. Was trying to get with Peggy Carter. Seems like a horrible boss. Doesn't really it seem like the kind of guy that really cares what's going on with things that he's in charge of. And so Howard Stark had the Tesseract. Wendy Lawson, a.k.a. Marvel, got the Tesseract. She was basically in charge of experimenting with the Tesseract for Project Pegasus. And so that's how she got the Tesseract. And so I guess since she was making this engine that she was testing and all her different experimental aircraft, S.H.I.E.L.D. really didn't give a shit where the Tesseract was because they saw her, using it and making things with it. And so they just left it with her. And so that's when she took it back to her ship and was helping the Skrulls. Because she already made the engine with the Tesseract. So she was just testing that. And so she stowed the Tesseract away in her ship. And then that's when we get to Captain Marvel, where they get onto Marvel's ship. And then they need a way to get the Tesseract, to hold the Tesseract. Sam Jackson says he's not going to hold the Tesseract. And Goose flirkins it into his stomach. And so then at the very end of the movie, you see the Flurkin regurgitate the Tesseract a la hairball style on Nick Fury's desk.
Hated it.
And so Nick Fury took it back to Project Pegasus. And so that's where you see it at the beginning of Avengers 1.
Nice.
And then Loki.
Weaponized. Loki.
Hold on, are we done? There's
Dropping
more,
it.
right?
I mean, there's way more. We've all seen it.
But we just want to get caught up to the current day.
The confusion was I thought Howard Stark had the Tesseract this whole time. no, it's because of Project Pegasus that he entrusted it to Marvel.
So Loki gets it.
So
puts
Loki
in his
gets
staff.
it. No, that's the Mind Stone in his staff.
Oh,
He went to go get the Tesseract for Thanos.
okay.
And so they did not.
No.
He
So
lost.
clearly, we all don't know.
He lost.
Terry.
Thor uses the Tesseract to take Loki back to Asgard, and then from there it sat in the vault until Loki stole it in Thor Ragnarok.
Yep.
And then at the beginning of Infinity War, he gives it to Thanos.
And we're
That's
all
right.
caught up with the Tesseract.
And Thanos still has it.
Yes, and it's Muse. It's I don't know.
Gauntlet?
Yes, but it's like just fucked up now.
No, yeah. Well, last we saw.
Yes.
So who knows? I mean, he can use the time stone to fix the gauntlet if he wanted to.
He could.
And
I don't
speaking-
I don't know.
Could he
Yeah,
use
I
the
don't
time
see
stone
why he
to
doesn't
undo
just.
what he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do a lot of shit. I mean, speaking of
He
Endgame,
can't. Well, he can't do something of that magnitude again because it will just fuck his arm. I mean, his arm will just be obliterated.
Oh,
if
yeah,
he
I
does
mean, yeah.
anything like
I just
that
meant
again.
actually fixing the gauntlet from the state that it was in.
He should have the power to do it, but I don't know why
So
he hasn't.
We'll see. I mean, so now that we're on the topic, the new trailer came out for Endgame. So we're gonna do a little kind of what do you
Whatever
call
it takes.
Which is crazy because
Yeah,
it like
whatever it
what if-
takes.
there's been like 2 trailers and then teasers. There's been at least 2 teasers.
All from the first.
All
20
of that
minutes.
is from the first 15 minutes of the
That's
movie.
how it should be.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with that.
But it sets up so much. Like this, how long is the movie? Like 3 hours?
Yeah, they said
3
3 hours
3 hours?
guaranteed.
Yeah.
This shit could be 8 hours.
So here's the thing: if it's so they show Scott Lang, Ant-Man, like with
Looking
the
at all the
wanted
missing
posters.
posters, yeah.
So that means he gets out of the quantum realm in the first 20 minutes of the movie.
So they're thinking that he's stuck in a time loop, like he goes to different times. Because if you look at the trailer, Black Widow's got like 3 different fucking hair colors in there,
Right.
and different lengths. So I think there's going to be a lot of time traveling elements in this movie.
I was just looking at her ass.
Well, if you look at it again, you'll see that. If you look up a little bit,
Eyes
you'll
up here.
notice it. To your left.
I love you.
I like Hawkeye's haircut. Ronan's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really like it.
pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Speaking of those two, like, did you notice that Hawkeye's got Black Widow's little stingers on his arm?
I did not notice that.
No.
Check it out. Watch the trailer again. He's got her tech.
So
He's
the
using it.
first movie, Infinity War last year, opening weekend grossed $630 million.
First weekend?
First opening weekend,
630 million.
630 weekend.
Showcase showdown.
Worldwide, yeah.
Oh, I take the over.
So, what do you guys think Endgame is going to gross?
You go first.
Me?
Yeah.
I'm going to go $631 million.
Jerry. Jerry going 632.
You know what? This movie, as much as Infinity War was like everyone was waiting for it. It was the anticipation was huge. Like this one is going to be 10 times bigger. I think everybody knows what happened in Infinity War, and they're fucking jonesing for more. So I'm gonna go 800 million.
Ooh, almost a bill in the
that's
first weekend.
That's a big step. You know, I also take into account that a lot of people left that movie mad. you
Oh,
know?
yeah.
Because
Oh,
they
yeah.
didn't.
Especially
I spent all the
like,
time
they
on
killed
this and
Black
then fuck that
Panther?
shit.
That was, yeah.
So-
You could tell they'd not seen much in the MCU.
Right. right.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
So you get those fans, and they got there and they left mad. So what incentive do they have to come back?
That's a good point.
You know what I mean?
And
So-
sequels, I mean, because, obviously this is Avengers 4, but sequels they're very hard to follow up, especially so close together.
Mm-hmm.
There's only a year apart. It's not been a couple years. It hasn't been 2 years or 3 years.
Thank God.
So, yeah, no shit.
I can't wait
I could
that
barely
long.
handle a Game of Thrones being, 2 years since the last season. But
But this is similar to when we were talking about in our last show, the Tarantino show is like it's just like Kill Bill. I mean, you should probably think of it as one movie.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's really hard to do so because the ending of Kill Bill 1 is so great. The ending of Infinity War is
So
its
terrible.
own thing. You
Yeah.
know? But it's kind of the same thing. They were meant to be one movie.
Matthew, what do you think financially this is going to be opening weekend?
I'll split
And was that
it.
number
I'm gonna
worldwide correct? Not just U.S.
That sounds like a giant number. It better be.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's
Worldwide.
worldwide. It's got to be.
For a
It's gotta
weekend.
be. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Weekend being Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. 718.
So you went 718. You went 800. You went 631. What I will say is
In
this.
true Price is Right fashion.
I definitely like the thought process of Jerry and Matt of this being a lot more.
I like Matthew's comment, though. You know, you're going to have some of the the non-diehards that were upset after Infinity War, just like he said. What incentive do they have to come
Yeah,
back?
I have a feeling, though, there's going to be like Tuesday and Wednesday night screenings of this thing.
Their family's going to drag them to it. That's
Oh,
the
yeah.
incentive.
Yeah.
I think, and I think there's going to be Tuesday. So I think it's going to be more. What'd you do? 718?
718.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 690 million.
That's a good number. That's a good number.
I'm gonna
Basic.
go,
It's like 10%. It's like a 10% increase.
So I'm going to go 691.
No, it doesn't fucking. You bitch. You've watched The Price is Right, motherfucker.
$1. Did you hear about when they left Michonne's name off of the
Oh
poster?
yeah, they actually I saw
They
today
fixed
they
it.
retracted it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit, my bad.
Because at first I also thought that they left Karen Gillian's name off too, but they didn't. The only name they left off was Michonne, and one person's like, Bradley Cooper's not even in the fucking movie. It's just his voice. I was like, Jesus Christ.
She's the only black woman
Yeah.
on it.
Oh, yeah.
Like it got intense. But
I can
I mean,
see
she's
that.
on her photos on the
Yeah.
fucking picture.
Yeah, like I said, if they would have also left out Karen Gilliam or another character too, I see that, but you can't have everybody on there and not put Michonne's name on.
Right.
Right.
I was looking at that poster. Like Cap is very prominent in that poster.
He's going to
Very.
get it.
Yeah.
He's going to get it.
I think he lives, but I think he stays back in
You
his
can't put him in the
condo.
middle. You can't put him in the middle of the poster like that. He's going to get it.
He gonna die. He gonna die.
Very prominent.
You ain't wrong.
The uniforms. Before we
Uniforms
go,
are dope, yeah.
That so them walking the uniforms. Obviously, one other thing to note was that Tony Stark was walking with them.
Yeah.
So
And
somehow,
Gamora.
some way,
War Machine had a dope.
Those are like their.
But I mean,
their quantum
you know,
suits.
Marvel's fucked with us before too, because even the Infinity War trailers, they had Hulk in there predominantly, and he was just in the beginning of the movie. So this could, you know, I'm not going to take it full blast. I mean, they could easily switch some shit up because you notice who's not walking with them is Captain Marvel, Thor,
or
Hulk, or Hulk.
Yeah.
So,
Because he might be in his.
well, the rumor
He might be
is,
hulked out in a suit like that too.
right. And the rumor is it's going to be Smart Hulk. It's going
Yeah,
to be
yeah,
Hulk,
yeah,
but
Professor
with
Hulk.
his brain.
I like that.
Yeah, which will be cool to see.
They come
be
to an
cool.
agreement.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I need the muscles, fucker. All right, ladies and gents, well, that's going to wrap it up for our Captain Marvel episode. Make sure you check us out on all social media formats. Contact us form on the website, and we'll have Haley take us out.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Pop Culture as Fuck, presented by Multi-Poptural. Be sure to check us out at our website for all the latest news and notes. You can find us at www.popcultureaf.com or multipoptural.com. And we'll see you next week, you filthy animals.
Yes! Yeah! Victory!
And anger management?
Fuck anger management.